Journey with Tuğçe. Are you ready for a journey to Mount Elbrus? Our guest Bislan was born into the Circassian culture but is currently living in Turkey, Ankara. If you are confused, let's go and let's discover Bislan's journey through Circassian or Caucasian culture. Nekotikojen, welcome.
Welcome, thank you.
Let's start with your journey. Why and when did you come to Turkey?
My story with Turkey goes to the 1970s actually. My father studied in ODTÜ, in Middle East University, and in that time he met my mother. After they get married they went to Jordan, and I was born in Jordan, I was raised in Jordan. After finishing high school, I got a scholarship from the Turkish government to study in Turkey. So I came here in 2007. I studied in Gazi University, 1 year Turkish language. Then after that I entered Hacettepe University, business administration. My mother is originally from Turkey, so I knew the country.
But your family is still living in Jordan, right?
Yeah, my family lives in Jordan, but we used to come to Turkey to meet our relatives here. So I know the country a little bit. I knew the language a little bit.
So how did your ancestors come to Jordan? I know that there's a deep but heartbreaking story when we look back at history.
Yeah, when we look back to history, you know, I'm a Circassian, a Cherkess as they call it in Turkey. Circassians are the native inhabitants of the western northern Caucasus. So after the Russian invasion in the 18th century to the Caucasus, like 1.5 million Circassians were exiled to the Ottoman Empire lands. A group of them went to Balkans, a group came to Turkey, to Syria, Jordan and Palestine.
They're all around the world, right?
Yeah, all around the world, and my family was in the group which was exiled from the northern Caucasus, from Avşugir. The name of the village is Doğuşukwe Avşugir. They were exiled to Jordan in 1878.
So when you make a comparison between Jordan and Turkey, how the Circassians are living their traditions, what kind of traditions are still alive?
You know, in Jordan we have like 150,000 Circassians living in Jordan right now. We are located in 8 places, majorly in the capital Amman. And we have a Circassian school in Jordan. I studied in that school, so the school helps preserving the culture very much. In Jordan, when I compare it to Turkey, you know, in Turkey there are much more people, much more Circassians, but in Jordan the identity of Circassians is well preserved, you know, and the government gave us very good rights. For example, we have deputies in the parliament, and they are selected only from the Circassians. Also, we have senators, and we have one minister in every cabinet. Also, the government accepts the Circassian as a minority. So that's the main difference. Otherwise, we share the same traditions and khabzas, and everything is the same.
Can you tell us an unusual tradition that people may not know?
Unusual traditions, you know,
I know it's hard to say.
Yeah, Circassian culture, what I like about Circassian culture is that it's about mutual respect and social consciousness. You know, the social consciousness concept is really what it always comes to my mind. For example, Circassians.
Let's talk about wedding ceremonies then. Wedding ceremonies are the most important part of a culture, in my opinion. So how do Circassians are celebrating their weddings?
You know, as everyone knows, the Circassian weddings are really something special. You know, and when I talk to my Turkish friends especially, I tell them that the groom does not go to the wedding, and they are really shocked, you know.
That's a surprising thing.
Our weddings, as you know very well, we have girls on one side the guys on the other side. And in our dances, there's no any physical contact except the witch dance. The witch dance, they say it is a pagan, it came from a pagan, it's a pagan thing. What I like the most about our weddings is that everyone in that wedding knows his role. We have the wedding tamada, we have the hatiyaqwa.
Which is the older people, right?
Yeah, which is the elderly who are responsible of the wedding. Our dances are really beautiful. We really have fun while dancing. I hope everyone else have fun watching us.
By the way, what are these dances representing? Because some of are very fast, some of are slow.
And the dances differ by the regions, but the main thing is the respect between the man and the woman dancing, and the role of the man in the society. So when you see the movements of the dancer, he is always trying to show his manlyhood, how he is in control, and the woman is trying to show how soft she is. It's how the Circassian society is.
And about the weddings, pranks and jokes are the, I think, most important part of weddings.
Yeah.
Do you have any examples that you remember?
In our weddings, as I told you, the groom doesn't enter the wedding. So sometimes his friends, we call it the shawa winner. It's the house of the groom. When a lot of his friends come to his house to joke. And in that night, the groom has to serve his friends, and they try to put some, try to give him some, in a bad attitude. So sometimes when he does something wrong, and actually whatever you do is something wrong there. So
Do you remember any examples?
Sometimes they throw him in the water on the river.
God.
Yeah. Sometimes they make him drink a lot of bad things. We have a lot of good jokes, but everything has a meaning. And as I said, they are trying to test his wellness, and is he a man capable of opening a new house, a new life.
And let's come to Circassian cuisine. Most known ones are Circassian chicken and Circassian cheese, but what do you have else?
I'm a chips pasta monster. Yeah,
Really?
I'm a monster, I really love it. Chips pasta, like the psahaliva. And we have a lot of traditional food, but unfortunately, especially in Jordan, we are losing a lot of them because, these foods and our traditional foods, it's about what you have in your environment. In the Northern Caucasus, it's a mountain. We have mountains and we have a different nature. But when we came to Turkey and Jordan, it's completely a different nature.
And an interesting point is you don't have fish in your cuisine because of the genocide. So can you give information about?
It's a story that I heard a lot from the elderly. They were saying that especially people, the Circassians who live near the Black Sea, didn't eat fish because they lost a lot of their relatives in Black Sea. Yeah, it's a really sad story, but I'm not sure is it true or not.
When we look at Circassian mythology, there is a woman named Guasha, and she gives the last decision about everything. So from that point, what is the value of women in society? So it means that she has a high status, right?
Of course, the women, the women and men in Circassian culture, I can't say they are really equal. They should be equal in my point of view. In general, the woman has a really special place in the Circassian culture, and just like Guasha, I know a lot of women tamadas. Tamada is a concept of a person, as we in Turkey can say it, is a bashkan, or he's the one responsible of taking decisions. So I can tell you from Jordan, for example, we had a lot of deputies. We have a lot of women ministers. Actually, the first women deputy in Jordan was a Circassian. She was Tuğçe, her name.
And how are children and elderly treated within society?
You know, that's another special thing about the Circassian culture. The respect is mutual. It's not only that youth or young people should respect the elderly, it's also the opposite. Elderly respect the youth. Not only they show respect, they respect their ideas, what they think, and it's a mutual thing. But you know, when I first came to Turkey, as I told you, I was raised in a full Circassian family and in a full Circassian school. So when I came to Turkey, first when I came to the university, whenever a friend comes, I was standing, you know, for him. And everyone else was like, why you are doing that? Come on, sit down. And you know, that's something, you know, it's
what you learned, right?
Yeah, it's number one rule, you know, when an elder comes to you, you have to stand up. And also what I like when when a young guy comes in to where the elderly are sitting, they also stand up for him.
That's a huge respect, right?
Just to show how much they respect him.
And what is the first reaction of the people when they discover that you are Circassian? What they ask you most?
Actually, you know, it's easy to know that I'm Circassian because of my name and my family name. To be honest, you know, it's been 11 years in Turkey.
That's a really long time.
Yeah, it's a very long time, and I didn't get any negative impression from any Turkish guy. When I said I'm Cherkess, they always have good thoughts about Circassians.
Can you give us an interesting fact that people may not know about Circassians? It can also be a behavior.
You know, I like to take this subject to another prospect, especially in Turkey. When you say Circassian, what they ask about is dances, Cherkes tavuğu, and
Circassian cheese, maybe.
Yeah, maybe Circassian cheese if they know a little bit about culture. What they don't know, what people don't know, is that we are a nation. You know, we have our homeland, we have our language, we have our traditions. We are a completely different nation. Living very good, very well in Turkey, coping with our neighbors. You know, that's what I want people to know about Circassians. You know, when especially when the media talks about Circassians, it's always about the dance. You know, of course, our dances are really beautiful, but we are not just a group of people who dance and eat Cherkes tavuğu and Cherkes peyniri. You know, we are more, as I said, it's a complete nation.
Is it true that at all times Circassians never had a prison system?
The highest punishment is that to kick someone out of the community. And so that we have a lot of people who were kicked out of the community. I know a lot of them. For example, in the 1920s and 30s, there was a lot of Circassian guys from Turkey, and after they did something wrong, the hamadas, the elderly, punished them by kicking them out of the community. So they came to Jordan, actually, and they had the chance to start from the zero. That's why we don't have a prison system, and Circassians really give importance to the family name. So when an individual makes something wrong, they don't say that Tuğçe did that. They say that this family did that. So we have something called napatech or yamuk. You know, if a yamuk comes to a family, that family also doesn't want that individual in the community. So that was the system, you know. That's why we don't have any prisons.
And Well, you're here for 10 years, right, in Turkey. So how are you? Your language is quite good, your Turkish is very good, but how are you with the Turkish food? Do you like Turkish food?
As I told you, my mother is originally from Turkey, but when I came to Turkey, I knew some Turkish dishes, you know, from my mother, but I didn't know that it's this wide, and it's you know, the Turkish food is just amazing.
Which one is your fave?
My favorite is I think Antakya. Yeah,
Wow.
it's close to Jordanian food, but
that's why you like
yeah, and they do it in a very good way. Yeah, Antakya, Hatay, Gaziantep, those are my favorite. Yeah.
I asked that because now we have a word quiz part. Your Turkish is really good, but it will be like a taboo game, so let's go to that part. There are some words which are intertwined to Turkish and Circassian cultures. Okay, if you want, I can start.
Okay.
Okay, let me start. There are some words, and I will try to explain them to you. Okay. Oh my God, that's kind of a Turkish dance, but that's a bit slow, and that's famous at Aegean part.
Zeybek.
Yeah. Okay, your turn.
It's my turn. It's a Circassian actress, I think, from Sivas.
İrem Sak.
Yeah.
Yay! By the way, I don't know some of them.
Okay.
Yeah. That's a red cap that is famous at Ottoman Empire.
Red cap.
It has a special name with 3 letters. That's kind of
Ah.
Fes.
Half fez, you know,
know, yeah.
kırmızı, yeah.
Okay, your turn.
It's one of my favorites, actually.
Oh.
It's an Turkish dish, sweet.
Baklava.
It's made from chicken.
Tavuk göğsü.
Tavuk göğsü, yeah.
Okay. That's a city in Turkey, nearby sea. That's nearby to Adana.
Okay.
Go there. Make a
Mersin.
guess. You know everything very well. Oh my God.
Mersin,
your turn.
Adana, it's really close.
Okay, I'm ready.
Yeah. It's also a Circassian actress. She's also from Sivas, and she's my cousin.
Your cousin? Oh my God, really?
Yeah.
Who is it? Who did you write?
She played a Nur Hayat role in a series.
Gupse Özay.
Yeah.
Is she your cousin?
Yeah, she's my
Okay,
cousin.
let's say hi to her.
Yeah, Gupse.
Okay. That's the hardest one. That's an instrument, Circassian instrument, but that's kind of guitar from that family, but not guitar.
Not guitar. A papşina or
You're very
şık papşina?
Yeah. That's a Turkish drink. Actually, for example, if someone was pregnant and if she gives a birth, if you go to visit them,
They give it to you.
yeah,
Boza?
that's sweet, very sweet.
Huh. It's a drink?
Yeah, it's a drink. Yeah,
I know. I don't know. Maybe
starts with a Turkish thing, she.
şurup.
No, sherbet.
Sherbet.
You know it. Okay, I'm accepting that one. And last 2. Okay,
Last
your
2,
turn.
okay. You are lucky with sweets, you know. All of my answers are about dishes and sweets.
Really?
Yeah, it's also a Turkish sweet.
I was a baklava, but no.
It's made from milk and rice.
Sütlaç.
It's sütlaç, yeah.
You are explaining very well. Okay, and the last one. A Circassian thing. That's the name of a mountain in Caucasia.
Oshamakhwa or Elbruz?
Yeah. You're not a foreigner to this shooting things, so I want to ask about Nord TV. Too. You worked at there, right? What is Nord TV firstly?
Nord TV in 2006 a group of Circassians in Jordan, a group of youth Circassians in Jordan started a project. They established a national TV, and it was the first and the only national Circassian TV.
What were you doing at?
You know, I was a volunteer. I did some shooting with the camera. I did some translation. We were all like jokers, you know. We knew everything, but we didn't know anything actually. You know, we were very amateurs. And that's the spirit, the amateur spirit was really special about NAR TV. Now it's been 11 years.
And let's come back to Turkey. I have a cliche question that I ask all of my guests. Firstly, if Turkey were a food, what would it be?
I think nowadays it would be a hünkâr beğendi.
Oh my God! Why? Why do you think so?
I don't know. You know, in Turkey there's a tradition to go back to the Ottoman tradition. So I think nowadays Turkey is a hünkâr beğendi, I think.
Wow, just wow. Okay. Thank you so much for joining. It was a pleasure to speaking with you.
It was my pleasure, and I wish you luck, and I wish you all the best.
See you later for the next episode. Please share your comments below and let me know what you want to see for the next weeks. Wait for us. See you. Bye bye.